Hello and welcome. This is your friendly neighborhood physics professor, Dr. Trees, here to welcome you to Physics 110 at Ohio Wesleyan University. The purpose of this video is to give you some study tips intended to help you to be successful in this course. These tips are based on 25 years of teaching experience at the college level, including over 25 years here at OWU. I hope you find the tips helpful in putting you in the right frame of mind early on as the course gets started. So, what is my first tip to you? It's quite simple. Attend class. Do not skip. There is value added in class time. In other words, I do not simply repeat what you read in the text before class. I add to the content of the text. I give you the opportunity to ask me questions about the content, and I provide opportunities for us to practice applying concepts so that you are learning. In particular, in practically every class, I do at least one homework example in class. This is a great way for you to see how to tackle the homework problems, because I am doing a homework-like problem for you. And don't forget, I do take attendance in this course, and attendance/class participation accounts for 11% of your final grade. That is definitely enough to affect your letter grade at the end of the semester, either up or down, depending on if you attend regularly or do not. My second tip to you: commit to putting in the effort required to be successful in this course. The first thing to realize is that you are training your brain to think in a new way. In fact, you're learning to think like a physicist. I assure you, this is not a natural way of thinking for most of us. It is a learned way of thinking. Therefore, you can expect that considerable practice will be needed to become proficient at this new way of thinking. Consider this. How do most people become proficient at playing the piano? Answer: lots of practice and instruction. How about playing soccer? How about flying an airplane? All of these require much practice and instruction. In fact, you probably take this to be obvious. Well, the same is true of physics. It is a learned way of thinking and requires practice and instruction. By the way, this fact also implies that you should never feel bad that you cannot simply learn physics on your own. How many people do you know who taught themselves how to fly an airplane? I mean a real airplane, by the way, not a flight simulator. In short, you are encouraged to ask me questions throughout the semester. That is what I am here for. Now, just how much time should the typical student expect to commit to this course? I recommend you remember the 2.5 rule. The rule says for every hour we meet in class, you spend 2.5 hours outside class studying. Since we meet in class 4 hours per week, that adds up to 10 hours outside of class studying. Of those 10 hours you're studying, normally, typically, you're going to be spending about 4 of those hours per week actively reading the textbook content. These readings will be assigned on the Wiley Plus website that I talk about in a separate video. Of those 10 hours, you'll be spending about 6 of them per week working on homework problems, again as assigned on the Wiley Plus website. This 10 hours of study time per week does not work well if you try to spend it all on one day. You can't spend Saturday doing just physics. It doesn't work that way. You need to expect to spend 1 to 2 hours per day every week studying physics. My next tip to you: when you come to class, be an active participant in the class. What do I mean exactly? Well, simply I mean applying your brain during class time, not just sitting in a seat. For example, the most impactful active role that I can think of is to take notes in class. The process of writing with the hand on paper, or, to speak in terms of technology, on a smart tablet using a stylus, it helps hardwire neurons in the brain. It helps you retain what is being said in class. As an aside, I don't normally allow people to take notes on their laptops during this course. Why not? First off, typing on a laptop simply won't work well in this class. You will need to draw lots of sketches and figures and write many, many equations and numbers. You can't type that. Second, in my experience, an open laptop in class often means the person is engaged in an activity that is not even related to the class discussion. You know what I mean. And this can be very distracting to others. So if you absolutely feel you must use a laptop in class, please speak to me privately and we'll work that out. Here is what I do recommend. Print out the lecture outline before any given class. I will upload the lecture outlines to the Blackboard site for this course. Bring the lecture outline to class and write on it. This is called annotating in real time. Then put the annotated notes in a 3-ring binder in order. This will give you a nice, complete set of notes for the whole semester. Another active way to participate in class is to ask questions of me if something that I say is unclear to you. Also, I will ask lots of questions during class time. I encourage everyone to participate during this question time. I simply request that you raise your hand if you wish to volunteer to answer a question, and I will call on you. And don't worry about what others will think of you if you make a mistake. It's going to happen to all of us. That's part of the learning process. In fact, we tend to learn more from our mistakes than from anything else. And my final tip to you, do not hesitate to communicate with me about anything in the course. I encourage you to ask me questions about a concept we talked about in class, or that you read about in the text, about a homework problem that is troubling you. I am happy to talk with you individually about ways to be successful in the course. Remember, you are not expected to learn all this on your own. Of course, you can send me an email if you wish to communicate with me. I respond to emails as soon as I possibly can. When it comes to technical discussions about course content, I prefer to talk with you in person. I have office hours that are listed on the syllabus, and I have what is called an open door policy. That means you can come by my office in the Science Center at a time that isn't one of my published office hours, and if my door is open, I'm free game for a question. So that's all for now. Physics is a fascinating subject of inquiry with an exceedingly powerful way of thinking about the universe. In this course, my goal is to create an atmosphere where you can learn to appreciate this fact. Here's to a great semester.